In this lesson, we'll be going over sketching basics, geometry creation. Start a new file and change your units to the inch unit system, and then start a new sketch on the top plane. The first thing that we want to do is select a 2-point rectangle, navigate to our sketch palette, and change this to a center point rectangle. We're going to left click at the origin and drag this out until the dimensions are roughly 3 by 3. Now you'll notice that the bottom dimension is highlighted and it snaps to various options based on our grid settings. So you want to go to a 3 by 3 and left click. Notice that I didn't place any manual dimensions in the dimension boxes. I simply dragged the rectangle out until it was 3 by 3. Because I didn't manually place any dimensions, the dimension values have disappeared. And that's okay because right now we're not focusing on placing dimensions. Next, we want to navigate up to the Sketch dropdown, select Circle, and grab the center diameter circle. We're going to place this at the origin and drag it out until it's roughly 1 inch. You'll notice that if we drag directly along one of the main axes, the X or the Y, that we can get to exactly 1 inch. If you drag out at a certain angle, you won't be able to navigate to that because we have our snaps turned on. At any point in time, you can hold down the Control key on the keyboard, and that'll allow you to override the snaps, so we're no longer snapping to coordinate points. For right now, we'll just drag along the vertical axis until we're at 1 inch dimension, and left click. Then press Escape on the keyboard. The next thing that we want to do is sketch a line, but I want to make a note here that we've already explored the various ways that we can access tools, from the toolbar, from your S key, from your right-click marking menu, as well as various other options like the shortcut L for creating a line. It's a good idea as you start to get comfortable with Fusion to play around with these various options. If we press the right mouse button, navigate down to Sketch, notice that we have the line tool directly in the 6 o'clock position. So if you want to make use of your marking menu, all you have to do is hold down the right mouse button and drag it straight down, and we'll start creating a line. We're going to snap this line to the midpoint of the upper horizontal line. We'll start to drag down, and we want to go down roughly 1/2 inch. We'll left click, and notice that once we place that, we have a green check mark that's located next to the coordinate point. This allows us to end the line tool. But in our case, what we want to do is drag the line to the right until it intersects the upper construction line. We want to make sure that this line is horizontal, and then we want to hover over the last point, hold down the left mouse button, and drag away. Notice that this places an arc on here instead of just a line. Next, let's hit Escape on the keyboard. When you look at the line tool icon, notice that it's a straight line followed by an arc. When placing lines, hovering over the last point and holding down the mouse button allows you to transition to a tangent arc. These icons located here are constraints that are automatically applied. The triangle signifies a midpoint constraint. The circle with a line signifies a tangent constraint. The L-looking icon signifies a coincident constraint. And these two lines here signify a parallel constraint. Anytime you hover over one of these, it'll highlight the other entity as well as the other icon that signifies which relationships are applied. This one here applied a horizontal relation to just one edge, and the rest are either perpendicular or parallel. Before we stop our sketch, I want to make a few notes back in the sketch palette. The Show Profile option. If we turn this off, notice that the yellow highlighting inside of the sketch area is gone. Show Profile allows us to see when we have a closed sketch profile that'll be valid for a solid feature, like an extrude. So it's handy to leave Show Profile turned on. Let's go ahead and stop the sketch, and let's save our file. We're going to be placing this file in our Fusion Mastery project in Tier 2, and we want to call it Sketch Basics. We're going to use this file to learn various basics that we need to understand while creating sketches before we jump into creating our actual parts.